Today, I want to talk about the forgotten quarterback in Carolina, Matt Corral. Why do I want to talk about Matt Corral over Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield? Well, it's pretty simple. I think Matt Corral is Matt Rhule's best shot at keeping his job for the 2023 NFL season. Now, why would I say a rookie quarterback has a better shot at saving his coach's job over a playoff game winning quarterback? Well, let's break it down. Let's start off by looking back at Corral's college career. Corral had a very good college career, improving every year to me. Corral's best stat in his career was his completion percentage. In his sophomore year, he had a 70.9% completion percentage with an average yard attempt of 10.2. His junior year had a bit of a drop-off from his sophomore year, but still productive, coming in at 67.9% completion percentage with an average yard attempt of 8.7. But there was a huge improvement from his sophomore year to his junior year, and that would be his INT total. Going from 14 down to 5, Corral also can move around very well and take off and run for yards. Corral put up a combined 1,120 rushing yards and 15 rushing touchdowns. But now let's talk about the red flag that everyone's pointing out about Matt Corral. Ole Miss's offense won't work in the NFL. He was in a non-NFL offense. What does that mean? Ole Miss ran RPOs 36% of the time. The average percentage of RPOs in an NFL offense is 11.39%, a 25% drop-off. When I watch Corral, I see a high upside QB. Corral has a quick release, which he needed on RPOs. He also has a fast processor. He needed that to be able to not avoid disaster on RPOs to make sure no negative plays, no turnovers happen. No prospect is perfect, but the ones who show flashes you have to take a flyer on, and Corral showed those to me. A critique I have of him that I believe is easier to work on than all the others is his frame. Corral is 6'2" and weighs 212 as of the scouting combine. There's plenty of room for him to grow into that frame and put on more muscle. I'm sure he's already been working on putting on muscle, especially since being drafted and working with the NFL strength staff. Now let's talk about 5 players the Panthers brought in over the offseason that will help a young rookie quarterback out. And I want to start off by talking about center Bradley Bozeman. Bradley Bozeman comes over from Baltimore. Last season, in 1,125 snaps, he had 1 penalty. In 718 passing reps, he had only 3 sacks allowed. Bozeman is projected to be the starting center this season. The other free agent lineman I want to highlight is Austin Corbett. Corbett, in 1,081 snaps, had a total of 2 penalties. In 674 passing reps, he gave up 3 sacks. He also comes over for the LA Rams. He's a defending Super Bowl champion. I know neither Bozeman and Corbett are the sexiest names to bring in, but their impact will be felt in the running game and in the passing game, protecting both the running backs and quarterbacks for the long run. The other free agent I want to highlight is Rashard Higgins. Higgins doesn't blow the stat sheets away, but what he is simple. He's a go-to for a wideout guy. He's going to be the one that's going to help you pick up the first downs. He's going to be the 4th option. He's not going to be the one that's going to be the play is designed around, but he's going to be a rookie's dump-off option, which is very important for a young rookie quarterback. Higgins is solid, but he's nothing special, but solid's what you need for a young quarterback. Now let's talk about 2 draft picks that the Panthers made, minus Matt Corral. The first one I want to talk about is Ikem Ekwonu. The Panthers drafted him 6th overall. Ekwonu was my highest rated tackle in the draft, a very physical blocker who loves to play how far can I throw a defender. He'll be Carolina's starting left tackle week 1 and will be very important in run blocking, especially with Christian McCaffrey going to the outside. The other draft pick I want to talk about is offense lineman Cade Mays. And I'm not saying he's going to start. I'm not saying he's going to get significant playing time, minus an injury. But the reason I want to highlight him is because he has played all 5 offensive line positions. So he has versatility. And for a 6th-round pick, that's very crucial. And with how linemen can sustain an injury on any play with someone just rolling up on the wrong side of your leg, it is important to have a guy that can play every position. Can he do it well at the NFL level? That is to be determined. But you like his versatility, and you like what he can bring to the Panthers offense. He comes from Tennessee. He comes from an SEC division, SEC school. He knows how to play the rough style football. He's decent in pass pro. Ultimately, he is a serviceable backup lineman who could develop in something more. But most importantly, you have a good backup line for if Matt Corral has those issues with the starting offensive lineman going down. Now that we talked about the new guys, let's talk about the existing players that are returning from the 2021 season. And first, let's start off with their best player, Christian McCaffrey. Now, he's got a backup running back in Chuba Hubbard, who I do really like, and I think is a perfect 1-2 punch for them. If Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, they'll have a top 5 rushing attack in the league. The problem is betting on Christian McCaffrey's health, which hasn't been there for a couple seasons. If he is healthy, they will have one of the most dynamic running backs in the game and one of the best backup running backs in the game as well. Let alone, Christian McCaffrey can bring presence in the receiving game as well. He's a very good receiving running back. You can design plays mainly for him, just alone and not the wide receivers. What McCaffrey can bring to this offense is a dynamic punch that they've been missing for the past couple seasons. Now, the tight end group, which is a very young group, but there's one guy I really like in there. But let's talk about the two guys that are the starters. Ian Thomas, who is returning to the Panthers, signing a $5 million per year deal, and Tommy Tremble entering his second year in the NFL. Now, Ian Thomas is what he is. He's mostly a run-blocking tight end. But Tommy Tremble is someone I wanted to highlight because I think he's the best chance for a breakout candidate on this Panthers offense. Tommy Tremble had 20 receptions and 180 yards last year with a touchdown. In his second season, I believe he will get close to 600 yards and 7 touchdowns. Now, why is that? Second-year tight ends have a big-time jump. First-year tight ends really don't have an explosive first year in the NFL. Rookie tight ends, they're rarely going to blow you away. It's the second year and third year that you see the major jump for tight end production. I think Tommy Tremble has the receiving ability to do that, and he's also a serviceable blocker that you'll be using him on the field in running attacks, which will lead to play-action attacks as well. Now let's shift our focus to the Carolina Panthers wide receivers. We've already talked about Rashard Higgins, so let's focus on the other three. We're going to start off with Terrace Marshall. Marshall is another guy you can expect a jump from production. In 13 games, he had 17 receptions, 138 yards in his rookie year. Now, I have a hard time believing that someone with the talent that Marshall has would struggle that much again this year. Marshall had issues with injuries throughout the season last year, which for a rookie coming in is very hard to stay productive when you're dealing with injuries that are keeping you on and off the field at certain moments. Next is Robbie Anderson. He'll be the number 2 option for the Carolina Panthers. Anderson is the take the top off of a defense guy. He can do other things, but his most important job is to keep a defense honest. He's very fast and can take a top off the defense with good speed. But he's not the most important weapon for the Panthers offense in the receiving core. That would be DJ Moore. DJ Moore is your everything player. He can go outside or come inside and play the slot. He's the number 1 game changer in the receiving game for the Panthers. Now, why is he the number 1 receiving game changer? It's pretty simple. His ability trumps over anyone else they have right now. Now to finish talking about returning offensive players, we'll go to the offensive line. First is Pat Elflein, who missed 8 games last year with a hamstring injury. In 534 snaps, he had 2 penalties, and in 322 passing reps, he allowed 0 sacks. The other starting offensive lineman returning will be Brady Christensen. Brady in 408 snaps had 2 penalties. In 321 passing reps, he allowed 4 sacks. The Panthers are banking on their 3 new linemen making a major difference. Brady's entering his second year in the NFL, so a jump can happen. Pat Elflein is an NFL veteran. He's serviceable and solid and is hoping to bounce back from an injury-riddled season last year. Now let's talk about the 3 offense coaches working with Matt Corral directly. We'll start with passing game specialist Matt Lombardi. Lombardi has been with Matt Rhule since 2017 and came with him to Carolina in 2020. Lombardi doesn't have enough NFL experience for me to say if it's good or not he's working with Corral, but he's recently removed from the college game, which Corral is obviously recently removed from, and can hopefully help him adjust the NFL easier. The quarterbacks coach Sean Ryan, though, has been in the NFL since 2007, working with the Giants from 2007 to 2016. In his time in New York, he worked with Eli Manning. In 2017, he went to the Houston Texans and stayed there until 2018, working with Deshaun Watson. After that, he spent 2 seasons working in Detroit with Matthew Stafford. Ryan has spent the majority of his career with great QBs. Whether he developed them or just worked with them, it's a notable trend. The final coach to talk about is Ben McAdoo. McAdoo is most well known for his time as New York Giants head coach. Now, I'm not going to tell you to like Ben McAdoo. I'm not going to tell you to hate him. I'm just going to tell you why the Panthers thought it would be a good idea to hire him as an offense coordinator. McAdoo has 16 years of NFL experience. McAdoo has spent the majority of his career with the Green Bay Packers, coaching there from 2004 to 2013. In that time, the most notable thing he had was tight ends coach from 2006 to 2011. In 2012, he got promoted to quarterback coach and was there for 2 seasons as a quarterback coach before leaving to go to the Giants as offense coordinator under Tom Coughlin. He then became the head coach of the Giants from 2016 to 2017. In his time in New York, he took the Giants to the playoffs in his first season. That was the last playoff appearance for the Giants since then. He then got fired midway through the season after a lackluster season 2 and having some questionable issues with the quarterback play with Eli Manning at the time, benching him for Geno Smith. Overall, I think Ben McAdoo is fine for the job. He's been in the NFL for 16 years and has most recently been with the Dallas Cowboys in 2021 and the year before that with the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2020 as quarterbacks coach. In Dallas, he was just a consultant. I'm not saying having him as the full-on offense coordinator is the best decision, but he does have a track record of good success to follow him. Now time to make my final point on why I think Matt Rhule's job can be saved by Matt Corral. There are 2 ways Matt Rhule can maintain his job. One is the playoffs. If you make the playoffs, you're keeping your job. But it's a long shot even in a weak NFC. You have Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, 2 questionable quarterbacks. Sam Darnold's had turnover issues since coming to the NFL, and Baker Mayfield has only excelled when the starting offensive line in front of him is really, really good. Do we think either Baker or Darnold can carry them to the playoffs? I don't know for certain. But there's a simpler way on paper for Matt Rhule to keep his job, and that is play Matt Corral. Matt Corral is a rookie quarterback. You're going to go with the highs and lows throughout the season like a rookie quarterback shall. But if Matt Corral can have improvement each and every week throughout the season, it's going to be more likelier Matt Rhule can keep his job. Because if you can at least establish that Corral's gotten better and better and better, and everyone can see he is improving pretty well for a 3rd-round pick, you have a good argument to go in the owner's office, in the GM's office, and say, hey, this is what he did as a rookie. How about year 2 after we know him more, after we've seen how he played in the NFL? We can work with him more in the offseason. There are many arguments to say that Matt Corral is Matt Rhule's best shot at keeping his job. Will it ultimately happen? I don't know. I believe they're going to go with Baker. I believe they're going to go with Darnold. And I think Corral will come in somewhere around week 12 to play football. Whether that's too late for Rhule to save his job, time will tell. I'd like to thank you if you watched the entire video or just any clips of the video at all. If you like this, hit the like button. If you're new to this channel and you want to watch more of these, hit subscribe. I'm going to be doing weekly episodes of this. Next week, I'm going to be targeting the Denver Broncos. And last of all, if you have any disagreements with me, go down in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to talk to you about them.